Okay, folks, and now I'm just going to show you another example of, and I want you to write this down on page 46. Okay, so when we're converting units, there are kind of four basic steps that'll hopefully make a little more sense if you're feeling a little confused right now. Here's all we do: we figure out what is the larger unit. We have to remember one big unit equals many small units, like 1 dozen equals 12 things. Okay, one of the big unit equals a larger number of the small things. Okay, one dozen equals 12 things. Then we figure out how many hops are between the units that we're trying to convert. This is just the difference between the powers of 10 that we're trying to convert from one thing to another. And then we make a ratio out of that number of hops, and we use that ratio to convert our units. So here's an example. Okay, our problem is this: we want to convert 456 grams into kilograms, or we're trying to say that some number of kilograms equals some number of grams, and we know that we got 456 grams, but we don't know our number of kilograms. We're going to have to make use of table C to figure out what's going on with the prefixes. Okay, like K means kilograms. So 1 kilogram equals many grams. That's us figuring out which is the larger unit. Kilograms are big. Grams are our base unit. So one of our big things is going to equal many of our small things. 1 kilogram is going to equal some larger number of grams. How many? Well, let's figure it out from table C. Okay, the base unit, 10 to the 0, that's our grams. Kilo is 10 to the third. Okay, 10 to the third. So what's the difference between our base unit and kilograms, the unit that we're trying to convert to? Well, that means 1 kilogram equals 10 to the third grams, or 1,000 grams. A kilogram equals 1,000 grams. And we figured that out because the difference between grams, our base unit, 10 to the 0, and 10 to the third is 3 hops, or 10 to the third power. Okay, so then our ratio that we're going to use to solve this thing is 1 kilogram over 10 to the third grams. 1 kilogram is the same thing as 10 to the third grams. This is an equivalence here. Okay, now let's use that ratio. We say 1 kilogram over 10 to the third grams equals how many kilograms over 456 grams. This is an equivalent ratio. We're going to end up with an equivalent ratio over here. We can solve this by cross multiplying. And so then we end up with 1,000 times x equals 456 times 1, and we will end up with, let's see, okay, 1,000 x equals 456, and if you then divide both sides by 1,000, you will get x by itself, x, and you run it through your calculator, x is going to equal 0.456 kilograms. Okay, that's how many kilograms are in 456 grams. Another way to think about this is, hey, we just moved the decimal 3 places because it was a 3-hop difference between these two units. But quite often it'll be more complex than that, and it'll be hard. You may be uncertain with, okay, how many hops do I move things? Just make yourself a ratio and you'll be fine. Okay, now I'm just going to go through an example on, let's see, what page was this? Hold on a minute, get back to my, oh, the heck did I get back to? Okay, here we go. Okay, on page 48, let me just take you through 2 quick examples. How many grams are there in 12.9 kilograms? Okay, grams are our base, they're 10 to the 0. Kilograms are 10 to the third. Okay, we're going between grams and kilograms. And let's see here. Okay, and grams are small, kilograms are big. How do we know that? Because grams are our base unit, kilo is above, so that's the bigger unit. So one of the big thing equals many of the small thing. So 1 kilogram over 10 to the third grams, there's our ratio, equals how many kilograms over x grams. We have to have kilograms on the top and grams on the bottom. When you're setting up a ratio equation like this, you have to have the same things on the top on each side of your equation. equation, and the same things on the bottom. Okay, and then when you run this through, cross multiply, you end up with x equals 12.9 times 10 to the third. So you'll end up with something like 12,900 grams are 12.9 kilograms. So it'll come out to 12,900. Next one, how many meters are in 105.2 nanometers? Okay, let's do the same thing. We've got our base unit, which is meters, and then we're trying to convert it to nanometers. Okay, so our base unit meters, they're the big unit, nanometers are small. How do we know that? Because meters are our base unit, and nano is very small. It's way down here on table C. Okay, so here's our ratio. One of the big unit equals many of the small units. 1 meter is the same thing as 10 to the 9th nanometers. Okay, then we say, set it up with the information in our problem. 1 meter over 10 to the 9th nanometers equals x meters over 105.2 nanometers. Okay, I'm going to let you run this through your calculator, but 1 times 105.2 equals x times 10 to the 9th, and you'll end up with a pretty small number, a number with many zeros after the decimal point, or you'll end up with something to a negative exponent. It depends on how your calculator does this, but you'll end up with a very small number because there are a small number of meters in these tiny little nanometers. Okay, and there are examples, and come talk to me if you have any more questions about this.